Howdy again. Wearing a ridiculous Hawaiian shirt for you today because we're going to talk about one of my favorite things, that is macro photography. And one of my favorite things to shoot macro shots of is flowers. I love flowers. I've never made a dime off of a picture of a flower, but it's one of my favorite things to take pictures of. And by the way, if you're doing photography primarily to make money, there's a lot easier, more reliable ways to do it. You should go find one of those. But boy, I'm passionate about photography and I love taking pictures of flowers. Don't know why, just love it. So it's one of my favorite things, so I thought I'd wear a shirt like it. I've spent too much time talking about my shirt. Let's talk about macro. Macro is like playing the harmonica. It's easy to get good results and it's phenomenally difficult to get amazing results. I'm not an expert at macro. I don't have a super fancy macro lens. They're expensive. And like I said, I don't make any money off of it. So I have three basic ways that are within my grasp to take pretty decent macro shots. Number one, and I'm going to do this in chronological order. Number one is these little filters. They're little lenses that screw onto the front of your lens, and they work, but they're horrible. The vignetting and distortion around the edges is terrible, but it lets you get your lens really close to the subject and take a picture of it. So there's that. And they usually come in like a little set, you know, like a +1, a +4, a +10. And the bigger the number, the closer you can get. So there's the filter. The next one is the cheap macro lens. So just about the first thing I noticed when we got here to this condo in Galveston, it's like an Airbnb, and the flowers here are amazing. So it's morning light. And I wanted to introduce you to my Sigma 70 to 300 macro. It's stupid cheap. And it's not the best macro lens in the world, but it does the trick. So let's take some pictures of flowers because I like flowers. Do you like flowers? Let's do flowers. Between 200 millimeters and 300 millimeters, you can switch to macro mode, and that lets you get even closer, but still not close. Like if I'm taking it in, I gotta tell you, one of the things I love about this lens is if I'm taking a picture of a flower, I can be standing above the flower and I don't have to squat down on the ground. It's kind of nice, but it's not a true macro lens. The other problem with this lens is that it doesn't have a built-in autofocus motor. See, it's got this little thing right here that connects to a motor built into the camera body. And I got this lens as my first telephoto lens with my Nikon D50. That was a while ago, and Nikon was still building the motors into the camera body. Well, they don't do that anymore so much. And so this kind of went by the wayside. It just kind of kicked around because it's stupid cheap. In fact, you probably get this cheaper than a filter kit. But then I got my D500, and I remembered that Nikon still puts the autofocus motor inside the body on professional level cameras, which means I got to use my lens again. And oh, I love this. I love this. But when I didn't have the use of that lens, I found these. These are macro extension tubes. And what they do is they sit between the body of your camera and your lens, and there's no optics to it. It just moves the lens further away from the body, which means you can get the lens closer to the subject, and they work really well. I love them. They have autofocus built in. They're cheap. I think this set was like 40 bucks. They're great. I used the 12mm the most, and it works great with like my 50mm 1.8. Get real close. Well, the other cool thing about these is you can stack them. In fact, you can stack these and bring the focus point in so far that it's actually inside the camera when you're focused out to infinity. That's not good. You won't get a picture that way. But you can stack these to get them even closer. It's great. It's great. Love these. In fact, these are so good, they have prevented me from buying an actual macro lens. But then, I gotta tell you, right before shooting this video, I realized something. These work with lenses that rely on an autofocus motor in the body, which means you can stack them all and get really close. It's kind of great. So that's how we do macro. Have a good day. Thanks for watching. God bless you. Hey, I have Patreon. I would love it if you went and supported me on Patreon. And the reason I went ahead and did that is I hope I'm adding something to you. So if you feel like supporting what I do and kicking back a little extra, that'd be super helpful, really, honestly. My main goal is to not take salary from my church anymore. And that's why I'm here, that's why I'm doing photography, and you can help with that. Anyways, Patreon, Lord and Host Photography. Thank you.